Hi there. My name is Beth Green, otherwise known as Granny Rocks.
Hello, my name is James Maynard, otherwise known as Sweet Baby James, and welcome to Lighting the Way. Granny raps and she rocks. So please do chat with us, and Beth will talk directly to you if you're here live in person.
If not, leave your comment and I will reply to you later.
And we already have a comment.
Yay.
Catalina says, good evening, and sends a heart of love. Thank you, Catalina.
It is a huge relief that we are streaming. We had bigger than usual technical problems before, but it looks like we got them all resolved. So they happened before the show instead of in the beginning or in the middle. So isn't that awesome? See, things have a way of working themselves out. And we have another comment.
Elizabeth says hi and sends a heart of love and a big wave.
Oh, hi. Hi, Elizabeth. Thank you for being here. And James, more?
Oh, Blanquita is here, and she says, hello, Beth and James, all the way from Ecuador. Thank you, Blanquita. Muchas gracias.
Gracias, hola, Blanquita. So, tonight I want to talk about what I consider to be a very important topic, which is how to be a light in a dark world. And it looks like we've already got another comment.
Oh yes, Tracy says hello and sends a friendly gesture. Thank you, Tracy.
Hello there. So, you know, some of us feel, a lot of us are very aware of lots of negativity in our world today, and I'm going to talk very briefly about that. And yet when we think, well, I need to be, or I want to be a light in this darkness, it can feel very overwhelming, to put it mildly. You know, maybe we think we've got to be like Jesus or Buddha or somebody like that, right? We have another comment.
Oh, and Karen says, good to see you both, and she sends 3 hearts of love. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Karen.
Thank you, Karen. Welcome.
And Todd says hello, says hi, and sends lots of caring. Thank you, Todd.
Thank you, Todd. So this makes me feel really good that you are already with us tonight. So, yes, no, you don't have to walk on water. You don't have to be above everything. There's a lot of things you don't have. You don't have to be Jesus. I don't know what image you have of what a light in the world is, but forget about it. Were you already like transcending into some higher consciousness, James, and being...
Well, I was raised on be like Jesus.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, we don't actually know what
now I'm just trying to be myself.
Really, really.
In a good way. My better self.
Exactly. We don't actually know what Jesus did or said anyway. I mean, none of the guys who were there wrote anything down.
That's
and
true.
Poor guy, he's always quoted. You know, if you look at social media and we speak a language and we know how to write, I mean, how accurate is the stuff on social media? So who knows what Jesus said? But anyway, the point is we can be a light without having to be like, whoa.
Oh, and Amy is here, and she says, hi, Beth and James. Thank you so much for this topic.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm glad you like this topic. So, what do I mean when I say that the world is a dark place? And I think most of us know, but I'm going to sort of summarize a little bit because I think that will help lead into the part where I try to explain what we can do and how we can do it. When I say the world is a dark place, we see, obviously, tons of anger, verbal and physical violence, hatred, mocking, ridiculing, humiliating, suppressing, oppressing, killing. I mean, it goes on, doesn't it?
A lot of pain and a lot of suffering.
A lot of pain and a lot of fear. So I try to read the news sometimes and I see this, the headline says, so and so is slammed for saying such and such, or so and so is, crushed, or, so and so has been humiliated, and, it just
Well,
seems
here's
like.
the latest act of aggression and war.
Right. And so what I notice is even our language it's vile and violent. And now, here, the golden rule is do unto others what you would have others do unto you. Well, I would like to just kind of turn that on its head and say, don't do unto others the things you don't want them to do to you, even if you think they are doing it to you.
Right.
So that
just make it worse if you do what they do too.
That's right. So so I'm really breaking this down into simple things. And then I'm going to talk about how to get to a space where we can actually succeed in doing this. And of course, we won't do it perfectly. So, do you notice that when somebody makes fun of you, you want to say something equally snide or nasty about them or to them?
I used to be that way. It was so yesterday.
So yesterday. Don't do it. See, I'm not asking you to be a hero. Just don't do it. So I see people who are mocking, Donald Trump. I see people who are mocking Joe Biden. If I would ever consider running for office, which I wouldn't, mostly because nobody would vote for me. Okay, I know, there'd be a few. It would be like, oh my God, I don't think I want to be attacked viciously like everybody is attacked these days. And if I read one more article or see another article, so I'm not reading them, about how Kristi Noem shot her puppy, I think I'm going to throw up because it's just one story after another about what a terrible person she
That's
is.
That's the South Dakota governor, by the way.
South Dakota governor who shot her dog because she said it was killing livestock and didn't listen to her and all of that. Well, but my point is, people who are making fun of her are shooting her. They are trying to kill her career. They are trying to humiliate her. They are trying to make her nothing. Do you understand? So, I'm not saying that I like Kristi Noem, but my God, I would rather hear about her policies as the South Dakota governor, what she did or did not accomplish, and then see these endless stories humiliating her. So now you know that. You see it as much as I do. But how do we respond and react when somebody does something like that to someone we care about, to us? I don't know about you, but I want to get them. Right? Get them, get them, get them, get them, get them, get them, get them. And so I, will mock them. Well, you think you're so great. Well, whoever made you so great? Have you noticed there's a toothpaste on your shirt? Or, the level of discourse in the nation is pretty low.
It's pretty low.
And, I'm really very distressed by all the posturing and politicizing around the Israel-Hamas war, if you want to call it a war, and the exaggerations on every side. Everything is exaggerated so that we can make the people we don't like look even worse than they are. Using inflammatory words, putting it out in a way that is as negative as possible to turn people off and to manipulate us into thinking and feeling a certain way. There is very little, this is what's going on, this is why it's going on, what are the alternatives, what can we do?
Yes, and on a more personal social level, what about negative gossiping about somebody else?
Exactly.
That's another form of darkness.
That's right.
Negativity.
Did you hear what she did? Do you know what he said? You probably don't even know what he said, but you think you know what he said, and you're going to make it look as bad as possible. Okay. So now, oh,
Oh, we have a message here from Robbie from Kathmandu. Hello, namaste. I'm watching from Kathmandu.
namaste,
Nepal.
peace. Peace is the
Peace.
opposite. So
Namaste.
I feel like no matter which side of the political aisle you are on, at this point, I can't stand you. I just see this hysteria and this violence and this anger and this humiliation, and that's what I mean by darkness. I also see darkness, and I'm sure you do too, when I see that women are being pushed back more and more from the few rights that women have achieved around the world, and that rights are being taken away. There's this court in India. They're still allowing rape in marriage. That's still okay. Well, it used to be okay in the U.S. Well, it isn't okay. It's never okay. In marriage, out of marriage, it isn't okay. But women are being really, all you have to do is look at Iran or Afghanistan, but you can look in our own nation too. Women are being rights that people already had, or gays or trans and so on. So that to me makes it as a dark time. We aren't dealing.
Finish your sentence. So rights that people already had have been taken away?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so, yes, rights that people already had are being taken away. And now, what I understand is that the people who are taking away those rights feel justified in doing it, and they have some good points to make. But instead of solving the problems, what do? We polarize from each other and engage in these negative vendettas against one another. So even though I'm really angry about these rights being taken away from women, like the right to go to school, in Afghanistan, just walking around fuming about those men and putting them down, what a bunch of a-holes they are, is not going to help anything. And what's worse is that kind of energy makes the world darker. If I also get into that way of thinking, I am poisoning the well from which I drink the water. This is so important for us to understand. I live in my own consciousness. See, I'm not asking us to be saints. I'm saying, look at what happens to you. What about being suspicious of everybody, being fearful of everybody, being cynical, not trusting anybody, all of that, more negativity from us, poisoning the well. And we drink from it because we live in our own consciousness. If we are raging, we are living in the rage. It may or may not even touch the person we're raging at or about. But it is what I'm in. I'm in the swimming pool. I'm taking a swim in the swimming pool. And then I put toxic acid of some sort in the pool. And then I go back to take a swim. Right? I'm living in that energy. That will make me sick. So the first thing we don't want to poison ourselves. So out of a pure sense of self-preservation, not because I think I'm better than anybody else, but out of self-preservation, I want to stop. I want to stop all of it. All of it. And I have to start with stopping myself from going there, from feeding the anger. All I have to do is read one article about something, but no. Then I might want to read a second one and a third one, or the fourth one that corroborates the opinions of the. Do you see what I'm saying? So the first thing I'm saying is, if we want to be a light, we have to stop doing things that are creating darkness within ourselves, within our world. Well, how do we do that? Well, first of all, we have to decide that we want to. You know, when you're addicted to something, you're always looking for an excuse to do it. Right? If I'm addicted to alcohol or drugs, I'm looking for an excuse. Oh, I'm so tired, or I'm so stressed, or my mother died, or whatever it is. So, yes, I just have to do it. I have to do it. I have to do it. I have to do it.
I'd like to
So,
add something too.
yes,
I think much of my life I've been addicted to anger.
yes,
I felt anger, I felt self-righteous, I felt strong, powerful, but it was all so negative it didn't make me feel any better.
no,
And so I've gone quit turkey and gone sober and tried to not go there.
yes, yes. And this is so important because, see, if you're angry, you only think it's making you feel strong. It is actually making you weak. Remember, if you are poisoning yourself, you are going to be weakening yourself. So none of that helps. You know, being angry, oh, I'm not saying we're not going to have a moment of anger when we see something that we happen to think is wrong or shouldn't be happening. That is normal. That is natural. I feel angry about that. But now what is the next step? What am I going to do with that anger? Well, this goes on with the topic of how do we stop ourselves. So I said, first of all, we have to decide that we have to stop. I mean, we have to stop. We all have to go cold turkey. It looks like someone made a comment, James.
Oh yeah, here we go. We have a comment from Amy. She says, I can attest to being addicted to sugar means not only finding more and more opportunities to find it, but also more and more justification for eating it. Luckily, I am presently avoiding sugar, which feels so much better. Same can be true for feeling better when we add light instead of darkness to the world.
Oh, that is so true. We do feel better because our inner space is not as dark, is not as polluted when we're carrying some light. So yes, we can say, boy, it really upsets me that this is happening, or I feel hurt because you did this to me. I feel hurt, but I'm not going to get angry and do something negative to you or say something negative about you because that will never make me feel better. And it's so hard to realize that. And what Amy has just said is so important, that when we feel like a light, when we're calm, when we're loving, we like ourselves. And that lights me up. When I like myself, I think, God, good girl. Good girl, you didn't go there. And when I am nasty and crappy and mocking and, oh, it hurts. I don't feel good girl. I feel like, ugh. I may pretend that I think I'm great, but it's not true. It's not true. I don't feel great about it. So we decide that we're not going to behave like that anymore, that it isn't worth it, that we are not going to pollute ourselves in order to hurt someone else. Oh my God, what a concept. I am not going to hurt me in order to hurt you, because I am hurting me if I give in to fear, anger, mocking, humiliation, shaming, all of that. I don't feel good about me. I am living in the energy that I am expressing. Have you ever yelled and screamed and said, oh, I feel so calm? No. When you yell and scream, you feel
Tense.
tense. I don't want that. And even when you're not yelling and screaming, you know, it's just vicious. When you're vicious, you feel vicious. So we are all alive within our own, you know, between our ears. This is our world, is our inner world. And when I go into that energy, then I have to live with that. Another thing, so I don't want that anymore. Secondly, or thirdly, or whatever Lee it is, I don't want to add to the intense negativity that already exists. I mean, who wants to feed that? I go to YouTube, I go to Facebook, I go to the news, I see this one making fun of that one, attacking the other one, and I feel, makes me feel down, makes me feel depressed, makes me feel like there's no hope for the world. And then I read something about science has just discovered such and such, or they're finding other great ways of producing energy other than burning fossil fuel, and there's hope on the horizon for this, that, the other thing. And by the way, we are bringing this inner pollution to the earth. For sure, it's so obvious. You know, we treat the earth just the way we treat one another and ourselves. So I don't want to add to that. So it's really just a question to start with of becoming aware of the impact that all this negativity has on me, on you, on everybody. And then making a decision that you don't want it. See, that's all. You don't have to rise to be Jesus-like or Buddha-like. You just have to say, no. What is an alternative?
And to be the alternative.
So now the alternative is to do what I call the I am that, is to see the ways in which I am like the person that I'm making fun of. And not separate from them. So that's one thing that's always very hard to do, is to admit that I'm like somebody that I judge. But if I stop judging them, it won't be so hard to admit that I'm like them. I try to understand why they are like that. And then I begin to feel some compassion. I look at people who are endlessly looking for attention, like certain politicians, who will do anything to make themselves look important. How desperate must they be to base their lives on having to look popular or look like they are loved?
And yet, ever since childhood, we've all wanted to be noticed, to be recognized, acknowledged.
Exactly.
Draw attention to ourselves.
And you see, but that's so important, James, because I can look at a politician or some other public figure, and I can say, wow, they are also seeking attention just like I do. Mm-hmm. And they have figured out a way to do it. Oh, please speak louder, James. Okay.
Got it.
Okay. So, yes. So I begin to humanize everything. Begin to see everybody as human. Why are those men in Afghanistan stopping women from going to school?
Maybe
Why?
they feel threatened.
They must feel threatened. Why did they feel threatened? I don't mean that we don't have to stand up to injustice. I don't mean that. But we don't have to characterize and caricature people. We need to try to understand why people are doing what they're doing and address those issues. That's what I think we should be doing instead. Putting our attention on what can I contribute to this? How can I make this a better place? How can I help this person if it's even possible for me to touch them? See, if I am refocused on doing something positive, then I don't have the time, the energy, the space to be angry and negative. And in fact, you know something else? I think it helps with the fear, because deep down inside all of us, we are all afraid. Afraid of being dominated, afraid of being hurt, afraid of being cheated.
Afraid of not having our needs met.
Afraid of not having our needs met. And so, yes, I can see that fear. I can see that fear in me. I can see the fear in other people. If I begin to look at people and say, what is the fear they're having, before I just jump into judgment, I might not ever get to the judgment. And I need to keep looking within me and saying, why do I need to react to this? You see, that's the next piece of this, is if I'm going to stop myself from reacting out of fear, out of anger and so on, I need to ask myself, why do I feel fear right now? What can I do about that fear? What is triggering this anger? You know, what else could I be feeling, like compassion? You know, I gave, we have a men's group, and James is part of it, and I gave the guys a tool to use. When you feel angry, stop yourself from being angry and say, I need love. And when you see people misbehaving, realize they need love. Sometimes we have to use force to stop people from doing destructive things. You know, you see somebody about to kill a baby, you don't sit there and psychoanalyze them. You stop them from doing it. Not only for the baby's sake, but for their sake, because they will have to live with what they've done, and then they will have to justify it. And that's no good. So it comes back to awareness and more awareness and self-awareness and trying to come from that place, and we'll be so busy being aware and asking for love and giving love, we won't have time for the rest. We have another comment.
Very good point. Amy says, thank you so much for this, Beth. Such a feeling of peace could feel and positive difference I could make.
Yes.
If I use the tools you are sharing.
Thank you, Amy. I'm very glad to hear that. So remember, we make a decision that we're just not going to play that game anymore, because when we are not truly ourselves. We're all twisted inside. Secondly, we're going to realize that when we are poisoning the well, we are poisoning ourselves because we're drinking that water. Third, we're going to try to understand what fears, what motives are causing people to do what they're doing, and see if there's some way that we can help. And finally, ask ourselves why we are having the reactions we are, and how realistic is it? You know, are we blowing things out of proportion? Just giving ourselves an excuse to be negative. I think the point that James made earlier is so important, which is when we are negative, we feel very powerful. You know, have some big guy standing over you. You know, it's like the grizzly bear, right? But there's a different kind of power, and it's the power that comes from inner peace. We can all achieve that to some degree. I challenge you to do that in the coming week. And let me know how you do in your comments. In the meantime, just want to remind you that tomorrow night is Thursday, and Thursday means Magical Improvs Day, where James and I do improvisational music, and I don't even give you a lecture. And that's at 7 p.m. Pacific time. This is Lighting the Way. It's at 6:30
p.m. Pacific time.
6:30 p.m. Pacific time every Wednesday for Lighting the Way, where Granny raps and rocks. And then we have Lighting the Way every Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific time.
We
But there's
have
all
magical
music.
improvs.
Magical Improvs. Did I give it the wrong name?
It could be interpreted that way.
So thank you so much. Please like or love the show or give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and click on the notification button so you'll be notified when we come on with a new video.
It's a little bell image.
It's a little bell. And please follow us on Facebook, and please leave comments, and please share this program. Please share the piece. So many of us want this, and the more of us who do it, the more support there will be for us, because that is ultimately the way that we will succeed, is by surrounding ourselves with other people who are doing the same. Just like fear and anger and rage and all this can feed off each other, so can peace. Let's join the Peace Corps, shall we? Let's surround ourselves with people who are doing their best to bring light, and let's do our best as well without any judgment when we fail.
There you go.
So that's it for tonight. Oh, and here we have a final comment.
Ashok says, may Almighty bless all of us good health, wealth, peace, and prosperity forever.
Yes,
And he
indeed.
sends hearts of love and namaste and his flag.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Ashok.
much. Until tomorrow or next week. Bye bye.